picture of your offering, there's no minimum. But if you are, let's say you're raising money to buy a building, it costs $12 million, then you can't close escrow until you hit $12 million by definition, if that's the purpose of the raise. But if you are raising money where the legitimate strategy is to grow the business and to do the marketing, the software development, whatever it is that your business entails, then you can do a zero minimum raise. Obviously, there are risks in any offering, and you delineate those in the risk factors of the offering. But you can have a zero minimum in that case, and there is no maximum that the SEC applies except the number of investors that you can conveniently bring in, right? So minimum and maximum is straightforward. At least in many cases, it's straightforward. The investor count thing I talked about earlier, that's a Section 12G issue. An important factor in doing an online raise of any kind is to make sure that you set a minimum investment amount that is not going to put off investors. So if you think about this from the investor's standpoint, in a Reg D, they're doing something else on their mobile phone or a tablet, in social media, and they see an ad and they like it enough to click on it. And then they arrive on the offering page and they're looking to see, is it attractive? Is it interesting? What are the terms? You know, what's the valuation? What is the minimum investment amount? And at this point, literally, it's a remarkably casual interest because they just arrived and they're as likely to leave after 2 or 3 seconds as they are to stay. It's up to us to make it compelling so they stay. But if you have a high investment minimum like 50K, then a very large portion of those people that you spent good money drawing in via the advertising are going to leave, because at this point in the cycle, 50K is way too much. They're only casually interested. Our job is to get them to stick around long enough that we can convince them they should be putting in 50, 100 or more. But you don't do that if you put them off with too large an investment amount up front. Normally, we see companies choosing about a $10,000 minimum because, frankly, in my opinion, most accredited investors don't want to waste their time investing less than $10,000. The hassle factor doesn't justify it. Okay, so I've touched on that. Yep. You don't want people put off and actually that's another issue I want to touch on here. You do want to attract institutions to invest in a Reg D. And this applies in a Reg D paired with a Reg A plus and in a standalone Reg D as well. So it may be wise to offer advantageous terms to people that invest more than $1 million, say, so institutions will participate. And having a high enough maximum can be an intelligent thing because, you know, a typical institutional investor, they may have a minimum investment amount of, say, $8 million, and another rule that says they cannot be more than 20% of the total raise, right? And if you would like them to be able to invest, then you need to have a maximum that's high enough to take that and not have them be more than 20% of the total raise. So bear those sorts of things in mind as you're establishing the terms of your offering. But what I'm getting at here is make it attractive to institutional investors as well.